Good morning, Bears. Welcome to Tuesday, day 2 of Intro to Hinduism, Buddhism. Today we're going to dive into the caste system, the social structure, and we are going to use the beautiful slideshow of Priscilla. Remember, we have our concepts: Hinduism, caste system, that's the focus today. Brahmin, ultimate supreme being. Is he a being? Is it a spirit energy? We're going to dive into that later this week. Reincarnation versus resurrection. Remember, Jesus resurrected from the dead. Historically, in the Christian faith, is it historic? Debatable, but in the Christian faith, for sure. Reincarnation is a little different, although people sometimes say that they intertwine. Always a debate in religious circles. But reincarnation means you come back as a different person or an animal in the next life. Resurrection means you come back as yourself. So you're resurrected from the dead. So it's different. Karma, we've probably all heard about karma, the yin and the yang. We're going to get more about the karma when we're doing the Taoism and Buddhism. But basically, if you do good things will come to you. You do bad things will come to you. Dharma is kind of a law, a universal law about how to live your life in the Hindu worldview. Now, keep in mind, Hinduism, like when we talked about the Native Americans, oftentimes names are given to a culture from the conquering culture. So India was a colony of Europe, specifically England, and so the English gave the religion the term Hinduism. Now, it's stuck. There's nothing negative about it, really, so that it's still the word they use. But the Hindus themselves, or the people from India themselves, describe their religion differently. So we'll get into that as well. Siddhartha Gautama, Buddhism, Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, later in the week. The Vedas, diving into probably tomorrow for sure as a Thursday, Friday epic. And then Nirvana's kind of like the Hindu version of heaven. All right, there's our concepts. If you have all these done like Priscilla does, you're on track. Hinduism, we know about that. So let's focus on this. Well, first let's do a browse through. Look what you can learn from Brahman. Brahman connotes the highest universal principle and ultimate reality in the universe. Some people would say that's another way to describe God. We'll debate that later. Reincarnation versus resurrection, I just covered. Karma means action, work, or deed. The term also refers to the spiritual principle of cause and effect. Do good, good comes to you. Dharma is the key concept with multiple meanings in Indian religions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and others. So all of these are tie into Hinduism, kind of like Christianity and Islam tie into Judaism. And notice there's a wheel, like a wheel of life. Siddhartha Gautama, we're going to study that one later. Buddhism, a definition there, we'll study that later in the week. Four Noble Truths is a Buddhist principle. Eightfold Path, also a Buddhist principle. And the Vedas are the large body of religious texts originated in ancient India, composed in Vedic Sanskrit. The texts constitute the oldest layer of Sanskrit literature and the oldest scriptures of Hinduism. There are 4 Vedas, the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvaveda. We're going to focus on the Rigveda and dive into this whole polytheism, monotheism. And Nirvana is the concept, ultimate state. It's not really heaven, it's more like you transcend reality and just go back into the essence of what Brahmin is, which is a little different than the Christian worldview, which means you have a relationship with God, but you're still who you are, and there's a personal being, and you're a personal being, and there's a relationship. That's different than just melding back in. Nirvana is more like the Force in Star Wars. All right, let's talk about today. Great overview, Priscilla. Thank you. And remember, that's what these slides are for. They give you an overview, just a little taste of different aspects of these ancient religions we study, and then we dive into certain areas. But if there's an area that sparks interest for you, you can dive into them on your own, do more research. All right, so guess what we're going to do today? You're going to become an expert on one of these social classes. First of all, remember, we have social class systems. This looks very similar to the pharaohs. Pharaohs at the top, slaves at the bottom. If you go into medieval times, you're going to see one similar. A lot of times it's very few people at the top, sometimes just one, like a king, rules. And then at the bottom, the masses, most people are at the bottom. And it just tends to work that way in ancient times. And even today, you could probably break our society down to a pyramid type state. It's the class system. But the Indian class system is very unique. It's called the caste system, and it divides Hindus into 4 main categories, but we're going to call it 5 because of the untouchables. The Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. Many believe that the groups originated from Brahma, the Hindu god of creation. Now, here's where it gets complicated. If there really is a Brahma god that puts you in a class, then who are you to say you should move up in a class? So the one thing about the Egyptians and most of the others, including Christianity, the lords, except for the emperor, almost all of them allow for movement. Like Moses was a slave, and then his people were slaves, and he was able to be up in the classes. Joseph, Technicolor Dreamcoat we studied about in Judaism, in Egypt, came in and he moved up the ranks to be right below the pharaoh. Now, pretty tough. Some cultures, though, even like there's rogue kings. Like King Arthur was actually a example in the story of King Arthur in England in the Middle Ages. He was nobody, pulls this sword out, it's a little bit mythological, and then rises to be king. So some cultures, a nobody can rise to be king at the very top. In almost all societies, except for this caste system, you can move at least a rank or two. So maybe you're born a peasant, but you work hard, and then you become a farm worker, and then you become a craftsman, and now next thing you know, you're up here, and maybe you even become a warrior. So there's all kinds of stories of this in movies, how you rise up the ranks. The thing is, with the true, pure caste system, no, because they believe in reincarnation. So if you say you're here as a Sudra, a farm worker, well, that's it for this life. You do the best you can as a farm worker. Don't even try to become a merchant, or you might go back to become an untouchable in your next life. So life after life after life after life. So this one little life is just one little section, because there's going to be another one. So there's no real movement up in the caste system. Okay, so having said that, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to assign you one of the castes, and you have 10 minutes to become an expert. On your own, I want you to dive in. If you're in Zoom, I will do this with you. I'm going to assign you, tell you which one you are, random numbers. If you're a Brahmin, you go study priests. If you're a Kshatriyas, you go study the kings, rulers. Right away, you're going to make a top slide. So as soon as I assign you this role, you're going to make a top slide, just like it's a concept slide. Copy it, paste it to the top, make that top slide. Get a visual image, get some cited research, read about them, go search the internet, learn as much as you can about whoever you're assigned. If it's an untouchable, if it's a Sudra. All right, we're going to do that now. Now, if you're watching this at home, you missed Zoom or something, just pick one. Look at these. Find one that's interesting. Make a top slide on one of them. All right, here we go. If you're here in Zoom, get ready. You're getting ready to be assigned your role. Whichever role you get, copy the word, paste it into Google, make a top slide. So you come over here, you make your top slide, and you call it My Caste Role. But you don't call it My Caste Role. You write whatever caste you are. So if you are a Brahmin, you come up here and you write Brahmin. And then you go and research it and make a top slide. All right, you have 10 minutes right now. All right, now, if you're in Zoom, I'm going to look at the class and we'll take a look at people's different roles from our system. We have the Brahmins. Let's go look at them. Then we have the Kshatriyas. Then we have the Vaishyas. Then we have the Sudras. And some of you were untouchables. Remember, it's just pretend. Luckily, you're not stuck there. So what I want you to do now hopefully, I'm going to kind of set up the breakout rooms. I don't think I am. I'm going to go random. Now that you have your top slide, you should be an expert on what they are like. What's their job? What are their roles? What do they do? Who are they? I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. In the breakout room now, I want to take the information that you just got, and I want you to do a day in the life. What is a day in the life like? Where do you wake up in the morning? What do you have for lunch? What's your job? Are you allowed to interact with other people? Would you be, if you're a priest, are you dealing with the untouchables? If you're a farm worker, where do you live? What's your house like?
Good morning, Bears. This is a lockdown.
Technology do you have? You know, are you happy in your life? What's a day in the life? All right, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms right now. Hopefully somebody in each breakout room can describe whatever role you were. Remember, you all have your different groups. So I'm putting you in a breakout room with the other Brahmins, with the other Kshatriyas, with the other Vaishyas, with the other Sudras. So you're in a breakout room right now with other people that have the same day as you. And I want you guys to talk about, get ideas. What do you think your day would be like? All right, 5 minutes in the breakout rooms talking about this, then we'll come back. Good job. Now remember, if you're at home watching this on your own, you obviously didn't do breakout rooms. You just create a top slide, pick your favorite one, and do it. Okay, so now you have a top slide. It only says Brahmin if you were picked to be a Brahmin. If you were picked to be a Sudra, it should say Sudra. If you were picked to be an untouchable, it should say untouchable. And a top slide today, let's go take a look what it says in groups. It's all there. Watch Mr. Down's video. You're watching that now. Pausing during activities. We did that. Watch the video intro to Caste Systems. We did that. We have our intro. If you haven't watched that yet, go watch it. Now create a top slide on the caste that you were assigned to. So everybody should have a top slide with one of the caste roles. Find visual and cited research, just like a normal concept slide. You should have already done that. Study that caste level and discuss in groups. We did that, and discuss in breakouts. Now write a day in the life. I might have already done this actually. Oh, I did. I already wrote all that. Never mind. In the breakouts. Discuss in group. We did that. See, I should have watched that. There we go. Discuss in group what a day in life would be like. Add a paragraph to your top slide. This is where we're at right now. Add a paragraph to your top slide describing the day in the life. You just talked about it in your breakout rooms, hopefully. You can write it as a story. Could you say, one day, little Vishita went out to get milk. And you could write a short story about her day in the life. Or you can just describe what a day in the life of your caste would be. So if you're an untouchable, what would that day in life be like? Tomorrow we're going to watch a video about the untouchables and see that this stuff's going on today, a very recent video, and you'll see what a day in the life is. All right, let's do this. Fire alarm, so I'm shutting it down quick. Have a great day. Let's work. All right.